Well, hello everybody and welcome to Jeff's Baking Blog. Today I'm going to make some salted caramel cupcakes. I don't often make cupcakes because I'm not the biggest fan of them, but I saw this recipe on an Ankstrom website or an Ankstrom YouTube channel, and I thought I'll try that out. And very easy. Cupcake recipes do tend to be very easy. So I've started off by preheating my oven to 180 degrees Celsius, 160 Celsius with a fan, 350 Fahrenheit, and I have filled a muffin tin with paper cases. You could just grease and flour the muffin tin if you wanted to, but I've filled it with paper cases. So I go on to the ingredients, and for the cupcakes I have here 180 grams, which is 1 cup plus 3 tablespoons of plain flour. I have 150 grams, 10 tablespoons plus 2 teaspoons of unsalted butter, which I've melted. 180 grams, 3/4 of a cup plus 2.5 tablespoons of caster sugar. 2 medium eggs, which would be large in the USA. And here I have 10 grams, 2 teaspoons of vanilla sugar. Basically this is just caster sugar which I have put my used vanilla pods in and left those in there for a couple of years basically, and that's elicited a very nice vanilla flavour. If you don't have that, you could use some vanilla extract. Maybe 1 teaspoon would be enough, but that's 10 grams, 2 teaspoons of vanilla sugar. You can buy vanilla sugar as well, but it's expensive for what it is. I have 6 grams, 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, and I have 100 millilitres, 6 tablespoons plus 2 teaspoons of cream. So that's the ingredients for the cakes themselves, and let me just reiterate: the 180 grams, which is 1 cup plus 3 tablespoons of plain flour, is based on scooping packed flour into a 250 millilitre cup. And for the frosting I have 252 grams, which is 1 cup plus 2 tablespoons of softened unsalted butter. 180 grams, about 1.5 cups of icing sugar. 100 grams, 5 tablespoons of caramel, and I'm using one of the Nestle caramel concoctions, and that will work quite well. Dulce de leche will work well as equally. So 100 grams, 5 tablespoons of that. 3 grams, half a teaspoon of salt, and I'm going to use that in 2 additions. I'll put some salt into the frosting, then I'll taste it, and if necessary I'll add some more. We want it to be a salted caramel but not too salty, obviously. And then in addition to those ingredients for the frosting, I have another 160 grams, which is 8 tablespoons of caramel, and that's going to go into the top of our cakes. And then I will also use a little bit more caramel perhaps to drizzle over the top. We'll see how I go with that. So that's all the ingredients, and the first thing we need to do is to make our cakes. And so the first thing I'm going to do is just to explain that I think I again missed an ingredient. It's 2 medium eggs, which would be large in the USA, and I'm going to put those into the bowl of my stand mixer. And I stress you can do this with a hand mixer if you want to. You can do it entirely by hand as well. But with the eggs in the mixer, I'm going to add in my sugar, the caster sugar, and I'm going to whisk those together on a high speed for about 5 minutes. So that's whisked and it's nice and pale now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in my cream and my butter, and I have mixed those together in a jug, and I'm just going to add those on a medium speed, drizzling it in as the mixer's working. And that's mixed in quite nicely, as you can see. So then I'm going to add in my dry ingredients, but before I do that, I have my flour, and I'm going to put my vanilla sugar into the flour and my baking powder. And I'm just going to give those a stir around to get those mixed together. And then with the mixer going on a low speed, I'm going to gradually add them until it's fully combined. So that's mixed through quite nicely, and I'm going to put that into my prepared paper cases. So I'm going to scoop the mixture into the paper cases, about 2/3 full each one. So there I have my batter into my 12 cases, and I'm going to put those into the oven, and I'm going to bake them for between 15 and 18 minutes until they rise up nicely. There's a dome on the top in all probability, and a skewer in the centre should come out clean when I poke them. And at that stage I'll take them out of the oven, and I'll transfer them to a wire rack and allow them to cool completely. And once they've cooled completely, I will come back and we'll make the frosting, and we'll fill the tops with some caramel, and then put the frosting on as well. So I'll be back with you once these cakes have baked and cooled down. So I baked my cakes for 18 minutes, and then I took them out of the oven and I've put them onto a wire rack, and they're just about cooled down, and I've actually scooped out a little bit of the cake from the top of this one. I'm going to do the same with the remainder. I'm just going to use a teaspoon measure really. And with some cake mix taken out of each of them, I'm going to take a spoon and I'm going to spoon in some of my caramel, and I've just whisked this caramel a little bit. And you can put in as much or as little as you want. I'm putting about a teaspoon, so I'll have lots left over which I can drizzle on the top. And then I'm going to set those to one side while I make the frosting to go on top. And to make the frosting, you can do it by hand if you want to. I'm going to do it in my mixer again, and I'm going to put my butter into the mixer, which is softened. And put my whisks on. And then I'm going to whisk that to make it nice and fluffy. And with that whisked, I'm going to add in my caramel. I'm going to whisk that until that's fully combined, and at this stage I'm going to put in about half of my salt, so about 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and then I will taste it and adjust it if I need to put some more in later. And I'll whisk that until that's fully combined. And then I'm going to add in my caster sugar, and my icing sugar. And as you know, icing sugar has a tendency to cloud everywhere, very light. So I'm going to put in a little bit and mix it, and then add the remainder a little bit at a time. And once I have it all in, I will then mix it on a faster speed to make sure it's fully combined. And that's quite well mixed. I'll just have a taste of it. I can taste the salt, but I think I'm going to add in about another 1/8 of a teaspoon, so 3/8 of a teaspoon altogether. And I'll just scrape the bowl down a little bit, and then I'll give that a mix through. And then that's ready to pipe onto our cupcake. So I'm going to put that into a piping bag. And I have a piping bag here which I've fitted with a star nozzle. You can fit it with any nozzle you want basically, or no nozzle at all. It depends on how you want your frosting or icing to look on the top. So with my icing or frosting in my bag, I'm going to pipe that onto each of the cupcakes. And you can put as much or as little as you want, as long as you have enough for it. Just like that. And then what I'm going to do is, with a little bit more caramel, I'm just going to drizzle a little bit of that on the top. Any way you want, basically, just like that. And that's all there is to it. So I'm going to leave those just for a short while for them to set up a little bit. I want that frosting just to firm up just a little bit. and then when that's happened I will come back and we'll have a taste. So I have left my salted caramel cupcakes just for a little while so that the frosting can set up a little bit. It's still nice and soft. So I've taken one out of the paper and I cut it in half so you can see inside. So this is what that looks like. As you can see, you've got the caramel and the frosting on the top. So I'll have a taste of this one. Very, very good. Very sweet. And for my own preference, I prefer things not to be quite that sweet. But a lot of people love cupcakes because of the sweetness of the frosting and such like. But it has a lovely salty taste on that frosting. And then the rich caramel on the inside of the cake as well. And then the softness of the cake. So it's an easy recipe to do, and it can all be done by hand. You don't need a stand mixer. You can do it all by hand. And in not very much time, you have these very nice cupcakes. So that's going to be it for this recipe. I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you have, please give me the thumbs up below and click to subscribe to my YouTube channel. In the top right hand corner of the screen, there will be an eye that you can click on, and that will take you to a link for the recipe. And I'll put a link below the video as well. And I'll be back with another recipe in the very near future. So until then, happy baking.